Good afternoon, dear students. It's me, Malohat again, senior teacher at UrSU State University. Today at our lesson, we will speak about one of the most interesting topic in methodology, which is called classroom management. Classroom management, discipline, and school policy. What is classroom management? First of all, it's effective discipline. So let's clarify this item. It is not only students but also teachers. It is both should follow discipline. Both should follow the norms of behavior. Only in this case, we may gain expected result in teaching. The next item is being prepared for class. Again, not only students but also teachers, especially teachers, should be ready enough for the lesson. Otherwise, teachers know a lot usually, and they don't know how to start the lesson and what to teach and how to teach it. So that is why it would be better to come to the lesson ready enough. And the next item is it's motivating your students. Teachers should always motivate the students in order to gain the expected result. The next one is providing a safe, comfortable learning environment. The next one is building students' self-esteem and also being creative and imaginative in daily lessons. It's different for everyone. Why? Because of teaching styles of teachers and because of personality, because of attitude of teachers, teachings, and because of student population. And not all management strategies are effective for every teacher. So in this case, try different strategies to see if they work for you. Why is classroom management important? Let's speak about this one. Satisfaction and enjoyment in teaching are dependent upon leading students to cooperate. Classroom management issues are of highest concern for especially beginning teachers. Principles for successful classroom management. Deal with the disruptive behaviors, but also manage to minimize off-task, non-disruptive behaviors. Teach students to manage their own behavior. It's more important. Students learn to be on task and engaged in the learning activities you have planned for them. It is more natural to be off task than on. So now let's speak about techniques for better classroom control. So what are they? Focus attention on entire class. Don't talk over student chatter. Silence can be effective. Sometimes the students who sit at the very back of the classroom may not listen to the teacher or instead may be busy with nonsense, for example, playing mobile games or chattering with their friends on social network. In this case, instead of knocking at the table or knocking at the blackboard or instead of speaking in a very loud voice in order to attract their attention, it's better to use sudden stops. Sudden stops will surely work. But unfortunately, some teachers, in order to attract those students' attention, speak in a very loud voice or knock at the table or at the blackboard, and it may get on learners' nerves, and also it's not acceptable in pedagogy and in methodology too. So that is why we shouldn't use those actions. If you use sudden stops, even those students who sit at the very back of the lecture hall or at the very back of the classroom may think, wow, the teacher has already noticed that we are not listening to him or to her, so that is why let's stop and let's get involved in a learning process. So in this way, they may get involved in learning and the teaching process. So that is why sometimes it's better to use sudden stops too. And then the next item is use softer voice. So students really have to listen to what you are saying. It means that we should use appropriate pace of voice in teaching. What does it mean? We shouldn't speak in a very loud voice, and we shouldn't use a very low voice too. Both may get on their nerves. So that is why use softer voice, not lower voice, but softer voice. So students can really have to listen what you are saying. The next one is direct your instructions so that students know what is going to happen. So it's more important in teaching. Unfortunately, some teachers give longer and complicated instructions. So instructions should be short and clear enough. Instructions shouldn't be long enough and complicated. So if your instructions are long enough and the complicated ones, in this case, it will be boring for students, and even some students don't know how to do the task, and you may not gain the expected result at the end. So that is why we should take it into consideration. The next technique for better classroom control is monitor groups of students to check progress. So it's very important, but how should we do it? How should we monitor the classroom? For this, we shouldn't stand in front of the audience, for example, in front of the blackboard, at the blackboard, for example, during the whole lesson. Instead, we should move around the classroom during the whole lesson, but not the whole lesson. We should stand in front of the audience while we are explaining the new material. And while we are explaining the new material, we should speak a bit louder than usual in order to attract the learner's attention. Then, after explaining the new material of the lesson, we may make some small groups here in the classroom, and we should control how they are doing the tasks. For this, we should move around the classroom, and moving around the classroom, we may be aware of their actions. Are they really busy with doing the task, or are they busy with nonsense, for example, playing mobile games or chattering with their friends on social network or something else? So that is why, in order to control, in order to be aware of their actions, we should move, we should walk around the classroom. And what can it give us? So it helps us to control them, to check them, and also sometimes some students are shy to ask questions when they come across with difficulties, for example, when they don't understand the task clearly. They may be shy, or some students even may be afraid of asking questions. They may be afraid of making mistakes while asking the question. So that is why, if you walk around the classroom, so they may easily ask you the question, and you may help them to do the task. It is with the instructions, I mean, you may help. The next item is give students non-verbal clues. It is not always it's useful to give verbal instructions. Sometimes teachers should use body language too. It is non-verbal instructions. Yeah, non-verbal communication is also very effective. But non-verbal communication, it is gestures, body language should be used in balanced way. You shouldn't overuse those gestures, for example, hand gestures or other ones. Everything should be in balanced way. The next item is engage in low profile intervention with disruptions. Make sure classroom is comfortable and safe. And the next techniques for better classroom control is overplan your lessons. It's very, very important thing for a teacher. If you don't overplan your lessons, again, so you may not know how to start and what to teach and how to teach it, and you may not have successful and fruitful lesson at the end. So that is why teacher should overplan his or her lesson. Come to class prepared. We have already spoken about this. We should come to the class ready now with enough preparation. We should know how to make the lesson fruitful and more interesting and not boring for our learners. The next one is show confidence in your teaching. How should we show confidence in our teaching? So we may be able to do it only when we are ready enough and when we are knowledgeable enough. So that is why we should prepare our lesson beforehand. Only in this case, we may feel confident enough and we may speak not in a very loud voice, but we may feel confident and use appropriate pace of voice while teaching. So the next one is learn students' names as quickly as possible. Transition, allocated time. Allocated time, what does it mean? It's the time periods you intend for your students to be engaged in learning activities. Transition time, time periods that exist between times allocated for learning activities. Examples, getting students assembled and attentive, assigning reading and directing to begin, getting students' attention away from reading and preparing for class discussion. Vividness, what does it mean? Vividness refers to a teacher's awareness of what is going in the classroom. We have already mentioned about this one. In order to be aware of the directions, teachers should move around the classroom during the lesson. So don't study of off-task behavior. It is 99% of off-task behaviors take one of several forms: talking out of turn, cloning, daydreaming, moving about without permission. Antisocial, dangerous behaviors make up a fraction of the time students spend off task. Behavior management, let's speak about this one. So it's a Maslow's methodology. The self-actualization, esteem. It may be self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, and respect by others. Love, belonging. The next one is safety. The security of body, employment, resources, morality, the family, health, and property. Physiological, breathing, food, water, and sleep, and the next one is excretion. So behavioral, intents, acceptance, affiliation, attention, expression of self, gratification, independence, justice, revenge, power, control, protection, escape, and avoidance. It is step 4, behavior. It is behavior management strategies. Verbal, non-verbal, and proactive. Time to share. It is proximity and body language. So what does it mean? Eye contact. So if we take eye contact, teachers should use an equal eye contact during the lesson. If the teacher makes eye contact only with the students who sit in front of the teacher, for example, the other students may get insulted and they may think that the teacher doesn't respect our knowledge. So that is why the teacher doesn't make an eye contact and it doesn't listen to our response, and the result, they may get insulted and they may not respect your subject and you too. So that is why you should, as a teacher, you should make an equal eye contact with every student. The next one is facial expressions. So everything should be in balanced way. You shouldn't smile during the whole lesson, for example.